All right, these last three examples are going to lead us into our next unit. Okay, so we're going to be working more with problems that look like this in Unit 13. But basically, it's the same three steps that we've been doing up above. You've got to isolate the radical. Now, on this one, if you'll notice, my radical is isolated. This whole thing is being squared. That's what's being squared, is this x plus 1. So it is already isolated. So I can move on to step 2 that says we're just going to go ahead and undo that square or take the square root of both sides. Okay, so when I get it like this, it's nice and easy because if I square x plus 1 and then unsquare x plus 1, I just have x plus 1. So remember, you're just undoing the square. So you're going to have whatever was being squared left. That x plus 1 is left. But do not forget, students forget all the time on this one to do the plus or minus. But now we have that plus or minus square root of 24. Okay, can you simplify the square root of 24? Yes, you're probably going to be able to simplify from here on out. 24 is 4 times 6. So we've got plus or minus square root of 4 is 2 square roots of 6. Okay, that's what we'll just drop this down. That's what our x plus 1 equals. Now, they don't want us to solve for x plus 1. Usually when they ask us to solve for x, it's just an x by itself. So we don't want this plus 1. We're going to subtract 1 from both sides of the equation. So x here is equal to, they always like these radicals at the very end, just so that you can kind of see where the radical ends. So I'm going to tell you to put this negative 1 before. We're going to put that negative 1 first, and then put the plus or minus 2 squared to 6 right after that. And that is your answer. Not too bad, right? Okay, let's try this one. Same thing, except for now you've got to get the square all by itself. It is not isolated like it was over here. Okay, so same steps, we'll just subtract 4. So 3 times x minus 2 squared is equal to 48. Now this 3 is just multiplied, so we're going to undo that. We'll divide, and now it's isolated. X minus 2 squared is equal to, is that a 16? That is a 16. Super. Okay, now we could go through and undo that square. We're going to take the square root of both sides. So we've got the square root of x minus 2 squared, which gives us x minus 2, and the square root of 16. You're so excited to see a perfect square that you forgot to write down the plus or minus. Don't forget that. So plus or minus 4. Now we could go ahead and add 2 to both sides. So x is equal to 2 plus or minus 4. Do not circle that answer. It is completely correct. However, you know how to add 2 and 4. Remember, this is a positive 4 and a negative 4. So you're going to basically have 2 answers. You're going to want to do 2 plus 4. 2 plus 4 is 6. And then you're going to want to come back and you're going to want to do 2 subtract 4. 2 subtract 4 is negative 2. And those are your 2 solutions right there. Okay. All right, let's try this one. Again, we've got our square isolated this time, so we can go ahead and skip to step 2. We are just going to take the square root of both of those. So the square root of 4x minus 5 squared is, that's right, 4x minus 5. And the square root of 6 is plus or minus the square root of 6. All right, now we've got to solve for this x. It was nice over here. We just had to add 2 or subtract 1. We're going to have to do a few things here. But you all know your addition your properties of equality. So let's add 5 here first. So I have a 4x is equal to 5 plus or minus the square root of 6. Now we just undo that 4, and let's write it one more time just for good measure. So x is equal to 5 plus or minus the square root of 6, which cannot be simplified, all divided by 4. Fantastic. Nice work, guys. You're done with that.